Welcome all to Little Dragon Reader, where we have the most exciting stories. And today, I have a story all about blue today. It's called The Mystery of Blue. And joining us today, we have the Mega Blue fan, Baby Dragon.
Hello.
The Mystery of Blue. More than 1,000 years ago, when the Chalukyas ruled in the Deccan, not far from Badami, in the village of Ilkal, lived a little girl called Kunku. Her father was a dyer and a weaver, one of the many who worked there. They were artists who mixed the most beautiful colors in earthen jars and wove cloth on their looms. "Where are you?" shouted Kunku one day as she stepped out into the courtyard. "Up here, in the neem tree," replied Chandrakali. Chandrakali was Kunku's best friend. Kunku had found her when she was a little chick, left all alone in a nest tucked between the rafters of their sandstone house. Chandrakali grew up to be a handsome blue rock pigeon, always around Kunku. "Will you hang the yarn on the clothesline with me?" Kunku asked her. "Amma wants me to put it in the sun for bleaching." Chandrakali flew down. The yarn had just been washed in warm, clear water in a huge pot. Kunku lifted the skeins from the pot, and Chandrakali fluttered to and fro, carrying the threads in her slender beak, dropping them on the line. In a short while, they would be ready for dyeing. In the kitchen, Kunku's mother took a jug of water brought from the Hirehala River that flowed close by and poured it into a large vessel. Lighting the fire, she fanned the flames and held her palms out to feel the heat. Then she put a vessel on it and tossed in a piece of root. This was the root of the madder plant, in which were hidden brilliant shades of red. With her ladle, Kunku's mother stirred the water, and slowly it changed color. Kunku and Chandrakali hung up the yarn again, now dyed in many shades. "This orange is the color of marigolds, the color of festivals, my favorite," exclaimed Kunku. "I like this maroon, and this brown, and this purple," cried out Chandrakali, "and this pink. Oh, Amma is a magician. She can make so many colors with just one root. But I know her tricks. She adds a pinch of alum or iron or something to the madder dye, and the red becomes another color. Magic." "Magic," repeated Chandrakali, and pecked her softly. Kunku bent to stroke her, and her eyes fell on the metallic blue band around her friend's neck. It shone like a sapphire in the midday sun. No other pigeon had a blue neck like Chandrakali's. Green, purple, or magenta on the neck was common among pigeons. But blue, yes, blue was special. It was the color of the sky, of water. The dyers of Ilkal knew how to make bright red, blazing yellow, flaming orange, soft pink, earthy brown, lush green, and rich purple, but they knew no bark, root, leaf, seed, or flower from which they could get the color blue. "Chandrakali," called out Kunku, her eyes bright with a sudden idea. "You say pigeons can fly fast and far without getting lost. You say you always find your way back home, don't you?" "Yes, pigeons are meant to fly, not hang yarn on the line," remarked Chandrakali pertly. "You are absolutely right, and so I have something exciting for you to do," Kunku grinned back. "Fly north, far, far away, along the Ganga River, till you reach Kashi. I've heard Amma and Appa talk about the weavers there who make the most wonderful cloth. They know so much. Maybe they know about blue too." "Blue?" asked the pigeon. "Like your neck, blue. They must know how to make the color. Will you go find out?" So Chandrakali left for Kashi. She flew over mighty rivers, mountain peaks, dense forests, and vast green plains with hundreds of little villages. Many days went by, and Kunku began to worry. Was she lost? Or hurt? Would she ever see her friend again? And then, one day, Chandrakali flew into her room, almost hidden by a shrub she held in her beak. "What's this?" cried Kunku, staring at the spreading branches and clusters of red and purple flowers. "This," mumbled Chandrakali, trying to speak through the bush, "is your blue, indigo." Kunku clapped her hands in delight. "Where did you get it from?" she asked, feeling the hairy leaves. "From Prayag, not far from Kashi. The best indigo grows there, in those soils that get flooded every year by the Ganga," explained Chandrakali. She then dropped a small pouch from her claws, and a dark-colored lump fell out. "Look, this is it, the dye." "But this isn't blue, it's black. It looks like charcoal." Kunku crinkled up her nose in disappointment. "And this?" Chandrakali asked as she gave her a scrap of blue cotton fabric. "My blue!" Kunku cried out. All night Kunku listened as Chandrakali told her many tales about indigo that she had heard. "It has been around for about 2,000 years, you know," said Chandrakali. "Here in Ilkal, we don't know about it, but traders from faraway lands come across the seas to buy it. I heard that people in a place called Rome once thought that the blue dye came from a beautiful blue stone. They didn't know that it was actually from a plant." "Oh," breathed Kunku. When she finally fell asleep, she dreamt she had become a big textile merchant and made lots of money trading her blue fabrics with people from distant lands. Just outside the village, in an old house that had once belonged to a dyer, Kunku and Chandrakali secretly began to make their blue. They found a big jar lying in a dusty corner, washed it clean, and filled it with water. "We have to soak the leaves in it for at least 12 hours to separate the color from the plant," said Chandrakali. "Let's leave it here and come back later." When they returned, Kunku ran to peer into the jar. "Look, look! The water is turning green!" she yelled excitedly. "That means it's time to pour the liquid into another jar," Chandrakali told her, "and then stir it hard to let lots of air into it." Kunku's arms ached with all the stirring. "This is a lot of work," she sighed. "Much more work than Amma's red." There was still more to be done. When the indigo settled at the bottom like mud, the little girl and the pigeon threw out the water, collected the blue mud, dried it into little flat cakes, then soaked these again in a closed jar. Chandrakali mostly flapped about, telling Kunku what to do. "Close the jar tight. This time we don't need air. It can ruin the dye." "How can we stop air from getting in? It's everywhere," asked Kunku, puzzled. All this was taking too long. When will we finish? She wanted to know. "Be patient. Making indigo takes time. It is a meditation. They told me in Prayag," said Chandrakali. Kunku looked at her in surprise. "You've come back very wise," she told her. "When you take it out of the earthen pot, the yarn will look bright green," the bird continued. "But it soon turns to blue when it comes contact with air," completed Kunku. "It's only about air, air, air." "Of course," answered Chandrakali. "Air is a sacred element of nature, just like water and fire." "Now you sound like Appa," said Kunku, and shut the jar tight. But at last, a long stretch of blue-black cotton fabric was ready. Kunku and Chandrakali had worked hard, not only at making the blue, but also in weaving it, and most of all, in keeping it all a big secret, even from Kunku's mother and father. On the festival of Makar Sankranti, Ilkal was at its colorful best. dressed in bright new clothes, laughing and talking. The whole village gathered out on the banks of the Hirhala in the cold winter morning to pray to the sun god. Along with other offerings that the people made were pieces of cloth they had specially woven. Over the many shades of reds, pinks, oranges, purples, and browns that lay there, Kunku and Chandrakali placed a long piece of deep blue cotton cloth. There was silence. Everyone stared at the stretch of blue that glowed warm as well as cool. No one had ever seen cloth of such a color. Then just as suddenly, the crowd burst into an uproar. Kunku, with Chandrakali on her shoulder, smiled happily as everyone rushed to touch and to feel the rich blue cloth and asked her so many questions. Most surprised were her Amma and Appa. It was Chandrakali, Kunku told them. She is the one who brought blue to Ilkal. Blue, from then on, became a special color for the weavers and dyers of that village, and even now, Ilkal is famous for its beautiful dark blue sari that is called Chandrakali. Did you enjoy that story, baby dragon?
Yes!
What an interesting fact that to date Ilkal is famous for its dark blue sari named after Kunku's best friend, Chandrakali. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe so that you can stay tuned to see more fantabulous stories from me, the Little Dragon Reader, and my little sister, Baby Dragon. Goodbye!